પાકિસ્તાનના હાઈ કમિશનર ભૂતપૂર્વ પ્રધાનમંત્રી મનમોહન સિંહ આમ મણિશંકરના ઘરે મીટિંગ મળી।
जैसे पिक्चर फेल होती है ना, फ्लॉप होती है, वैसे बीजेपी की ये विकास यात्रा फ्लॉप हो गई।
नरेंद्र मोदी जी हैं जिन्होंने कूटनीति को, उसकी गंभीरता को नहीं समझा, केवल उसको जीवन में फोटो अपॉर्चुनिटी और इवेंट समझा।
पाकिस्तान कहता है कि हमें भारत के इस मामले से कोई मतलब नहीं है, तो क्या कहीं ना कहीं पाकिस्तान कांग्रेस को भी बचाने की कोशिश कर रहा है?
Well, 2 days before Gujarat votes in the second phase of elections, a day of dramatic political developments, Prime Minister Modi claims that Congress is colluding with Pakistan. Former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh hits back, accusing the Prime Minister of spreading falsehoods and canards. As we head into the home stretch in Gujarat, political rhetoric is taking over the real issues of development, growth and jobs. Here's a quick snapshot of the day's big developments. Apologize to the nation. A stinging rebuttal has come in from former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh to Prime Minister Modi. This after Prime Minister Modi claimed at an election rally that the Congress was conspiring with Pakistan to win the Gujarat elections. Prime Minister Modi had made this allegation after what he claimed was a secret meeting between diplomats and former army generals from both India and Pakistan at Congress leader Manishankar Iyengar's residence. The former Prime Minister has admitted that the meeting did take place, but went on to say that it was a casual dinner and politics was not discussed. Responding to the charge of conspiracy, Manmohan Singh hitting back, saying that Prime Minister Modi is tarnishing the office of the Prime Minister by making such allegations. All of this on a day when celebrations broke outside 10 Janpath and other Congress offices across India. Rahul Gandhi has been elected unopposed as the president of the Congress party. The 130-year-old organization is entering a new era as the new president faces a litmus test in Gujarat where results are due next week. In fact, setting political differences aside, Prime Minister Modi has just tweeted congratulating Gandhi and wishing him the very best for a fruitful tenure. So joining us now to discuss what has been a dramatic day in Indian politics, BJP spokesperson Narendra Taneja, Congress spokesperson Sanjay Jha, political writer and analyst Sadhvi Khosla, Pallavi Ghosh, and we'll also be joined by Ajay Shukla, who was one of the 18 guests invited to that dinner that took place at Manishankar Iyengar's residence. Let me first go across to you, Narendra Taneja. Are you seriously suggesting, is the Bharatiya Janata Party seriously suggesting that the former Prime Minister of India, that the former Vice President of India, Hamid Ansari, that the former Secretary of External Affairs, former Ambassador to Pakistan, US and China, K.S. Bajpai, the former Army Chief, are actually conspiring with Pakistan, that this is a conspiracy, that Congress leaders and several other senior officials who have held senior posts in Indian government have conspired with Pakistan to try and make inroads into the Gujarat elections?
No, I think the bigger question is that Mr. Anand Sharma yesterday said there was no such meeting. He said that there was no such meeting. And then today, we found out there were so many other people, including the former Prime Minister of India. He was also there. Pakistan's High Commissioner was there. But why didn't they invite then a representative from the Ministry of External Affairs? If you are inviting Pakistan's High Commissioner, why don't you invite a
Mr. Taneja, surely that's the prerogative of the host. Surely that's the prerogative of the host, sir.
No.
Who should get an invitation should be the prerogative of the host, right?
No. Yes and no. Because if you are hosting a social thing or a family get-together or something, that's a different story. When you look at the list of the people, including former minister, this former minister, and also the President High Commissioner of Pakistan, then it's a different story. The question is, and it went on for long 3 hours, and why did you deny it first? Why did you deny it at first? First you said there was no such meeting.
May I get you to respond to
issue the statement.
May I get one second, sir. May I get you to respond to the comment that you made? May I get you to comment to the comment that you made at the start of the show that we didn't know that there were other people involved? The Prime Minister, are you suggesting that the Prime Minister stated at an election rally that this was a conspiracy to put Ahmed Patel in the Chief Minister's position in Gujarat without actually knowing the full facts of what had transpired at that meeting? or who was involved in that meeting?
No, the question is that, you know, everybody knows in Gujarat also the party is going around whispering that Mr. Ahmed Patel would be the Congress candidate for chief ministership if they win the election. Why don't they
I'm asking a very specific question, sir.
On that?
I'm asking a very specific question.
Well,
Forget whether the Congress party ought to make the announcement of the chief minister's candidate or not. I'm asking you a specific question. The Prime Minister made certain allegations at an election rally. You at the start of the program said the Prime Minister, we did not know the list of people who attended. Are you suggesting that the Prime Minister made those allegations without having full information?
No, we said Anand Sharma said that. We knew. The name came out. You see, the question is when the Prime Minister is talking something, he's the Prime Minister. He has access to information that you and I might not have, you know, to. So the question, when the Prime Minister says something, we can't dismiss it like this.
No, I'm not dismissing it, sir. I'm saying that now that you know that there were 18 people as part of this casual dinner, according to the former Prime Minister, that was hosted by Manishankar Iyer, which, as I pointed out, included a former Prime Minister, a former Vice President, a former Army Chief, a former Ambassador to several countries, several other... So are you then suggesting that all of them, do you continue to maintain that they conspired with Pakistan to ensure that Ahmed Patel gets the Chief Minister's position in Gujarat?
Well, you see, the question is, no, you have to read. Look, you can't really say yes and no like that.
It's a simple question, sir. It's a simple question. It's a simple question.
Just a second. Yeah, simple question. I give you simple answer. The question is, first this meeting takes place, which goes on for 3 hours. Next morning, Mr. Manishankar Iyer, the host, comes out with a kind of a communique, a release. That Prime Minister...
Sir, I'm asking a simple question, sir. That is not my question. That is not my question. Mr. Manishankar Iyer has faced the consequences of that. I'm asking you a simple question. Does the Bharatiya Janata Party still hold its position that each of these 18 individuals have conspired with Pakistan, sir? That is my question to you. Simple.
No. The question is, you have to be... What the Prime Minister said, that is what basically the party line is on the issue. As far as who all were there, what they did, Dr. Manmohan Singh has come out with his own statement and all that. Congress got him to say that. But the question is, next day, the host, Mr. Manishankar Iyer, said what he said. So you have to read that between the lines.
All right. Sanjay Jha, read between the lines is the comment that coming in from the BJP spokesperson Narendra Taneja, saying that there is no such thing as a coincidence, that Manishankar's comments that followed the next morning were in a sense cooked up at this 3-hour-long dinner that took place. Sanjay Jha.
Shireen, if canards and charades are emitting from India's highest political office, that of the Prime Minister, I think it's a deeply unfortunate day in Indian democracy. You know, when Dr. Manmohan Singh's rebuttal of these ridiculous, preposterous, absurd and atrocious allegations made by Mr. Narendra Modi, clearly Mr. Modi looks very desperate at the moment for Gujarat elections, but to compromise India's foreign policy, to actually make allegations on national security being compromised by India's leading political party in opposition today, but which has governed India for 54 years, fought wars against Pakistan and won them. I mean, we have lost leaders to terrorist attacks. I think this is probably a substandard, abysmal depths to which our political discourse has gone. And I do want to make a point here, Shireen, that Mr. Ajay Shukla is here, who was present at the dinner. He will probably explain the point. But the fact that Mr. Modi has stooped so, I would say, pathetically here to make political observations of the kind that he's made, I think Dr. Manmohan Singh is fully in his rights to demand a public apology from the Prime Minister, because, by the way, there were army chiefs there, there were foreign secretaries there, there were high-ranking ex-diplomats there, there are retired generals there. I mean, what kind of a, ugly allegation is this?
Sanjay Jha,
I mean, I can understand that, we are in the election
respond to the
space and there is
Sanjay Jha,
some hyper-rhetoric,
respond to the...
But aren't we getting carried away?
Sure. Respond. respond to the two specific points that were raised there by Narendra Taneja. A, why did the Congress party first deny that there was a meeting? And B, why not invite somebody from government, from the current establishment as well? Respond to that. I know you're not the host, and I'm not sure that the Congress party had anything to do with organizing this dinner or not, but respond to the two specific comments that have come in there from Narendra Taneja.
You know, I can only make one point here in simple terms. I think, you know, end of day for a former Prime Minister, Mr. Manishankar Ayyar has been a very established and a very respected diplomat and has had a career in foreign service. And, you know, there are ex-generals, etc. I mean, for them to meet people from across the border is nothing unusual. I mean, President Barack Obama was here. He met up with Mr. Rahul Gandhi. I think Mr. Narendra Modi, when he was chief minister, was also meeting ambassadors and political appointees from different countries when they came visiting India or when they dropped by in Gujarat. I think this is not supposed to be an unusual development. I think end of day, even when the meeting is concerned, Shri, let me tell you, it was in the public domain. This was not unknown. And by the way, if Mr. Modi's government believes that there was a conspiracy being hashed by such senior people, I want to ask them, can they govern or should Mr. Modi resign? Because he's not capable of governing because he feels there is a security threat to India, a conspiracy against India being committed, and he's sleeping out there. This is a larger commentary on an absolutely ineffective government.
Okay, let's not get carried away with that, but let me go across to my colleague Pallavi Ghosh. Narendra Taneja, I'll come back to you in just a second. Pallavi, outside the Congress headquarters. Pallavi, what a day it's turned out to be. Here we were talking about Rahul Gandhi's elevation, but now the focus has shifted to the comments that have come in, the scathing rebuttal that's come in from former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. But Pallavi, what is the mood like within the Congress party? Because somewhere for the BJP to want to continue with the rhetoric around Pakistan perhaps suggests that that is gaining traction on the ground.
Yes, and which is why the Congress party, in a departure from its earlier strategy that they won't comment on everything that the BJP says or the Prime Minister himself says, anything with reference to Pakistan, in this case they decided to do so. And not only that, it's very interesting that normally Rahul Gandhi has kept his focus on the economic policies of the government. He's never actually retaliated or responded to whatever the Prime Minister has been saying during his campaigns. But he began his campaign today by actually making a reference by saying that, you know, the Prime Minister talks about Pakistan and China. He doesn't talk about Gujarat. That's one. And second, the Congress party in its strategy meeting decided that this is one controversy which really we need to clear the air about.
Yeah. Okay, Narendra Taneja, that's Pallavi. They're reporting from the Congress headquarters that the Congress party felt that enough was enough. They had to retaliate, and hence Prime Minister Manmohan Singh has put forward that one-page rebuttal, which I have to say, it's a scathing rebuttal that's coming from the former Prime Minister. Respond to the points that were being made there by Sanjay Jha, and the points that were being made by Rahul Gandhi in his election rally today. Where is Vikas? Where is development? Where is the issues around Gujarat? Where is the issues around job creation? Where is the issues around growth? Why has the discourse so decidedly been shifted to the issues around Pakistan, and the discourse has changed from development to this?
No, you see, first, I must reply to Mr. Sanjay Jha. Question is, why did Mr. Anand Sharma say there was no such meeting? Why? Why? It's a big question. Second, whenever there is a meeting like
Sanjay
this,
Jha,
where
one
all
second,
these
one
people
second.
from Pakistan...
Sanjay Jha, respond.
Just a second. Let me...
Respond. Just a second, sir. Just a second. No, you made that... You've repeatedly made that point. Let me get Sanjay Jha to respond to that once and for all so that we can move on and address other issues. Sanjay Jha, respond to that point that repeatedly has been made by the BJP spokespeople. Why did the Congress party deny this?
Well, let me tell you one thing. End of day, the Congress party has never denied it for the simple reason that Dr. Manmohan Singh, Mr. Manishankar Ayyar are on record for saying that this meeting did happen. By the way, when there are foreign diplomats, whether they're retired or not retired, when they come visiting India, they meet various people from different parties. They may have other meetings with other people from the Congress party. Now, which meeting are you talking about? You know, you can't expect, you know, there are several meetings held. I mean, end of day, there is a specific meeting we are talking about. And this was in the public domain. I think the Congress party takes full responsibility in saying that the meeting did happen. happen. But the kind of allegations Mr. Modi has made is an absolute fabricated fantasy that makes our democracy look like a banana republic joke. I think the BJP owes an apology to the country.
This was not in public domain.
Respond
Mr.
to that
Sanjay Jha,
issue.
you are factually. Mr. Sanjay Jha,
Sir,
Mr. Sanjay Jha
it was
is
in the
factually
public domain.
incorrect.
Go
This
figure
was
it
not
out.
in public domain. It was not. Second point.
It is in the public domain. Ask
meeting,
Mr. Ajay Shukla, he will tell you.
Okay, let's move to the other point, sir.
No, let me answer.
And by the way, the Ministry of External Affairs knows every
This is a very
detail.
second important point. Whenever there is a meeting like this where you are discussing bilateral, people call it track 2 or some people call it track 1.5. If it was track 2, even in that case, the Ministry of External Affairs is either involved or they are briefed immediately. In this case, it was not done. On the contrary, it was denied. The question is what exactly happened for long 3 hours. And second day, the press statement from Mani Shankar here was Prime Minister needs. That was the outcome of that meeting.
Okay. All right, gentlemen. Sanjay Jha, final word to you before I bring Sadhvi Khosla and go back again to Pallavi. Go ahead. Yes.
Shirin, let me tell you, if this government is telling us that when visitors from Pakistan are in India, their whereabouts, by the way, that every meeting pre-arranged is known to the government. I mean, end of day, this is a height of what I call as fake news or post-truth propaganda going on here. I mean, the truth is, if your government doesn't know, your government is thoroughly incompetent and ineffective. They ought to know. And I think you are right now pretending.
What is happening
Please give
in
us
the
the
four
facts
walls?
on the
How
table
would the
and put it on
government know?
television
Okay,
screen.
all right.
What happens within the four walls? How would the government know?
What
happens within the four walls? How would the government know?
Gentlemen,
exactly. In that case, why did Narendra Modi
elevate?
No, Mr. Taneja,
Gentlemen, can we please try and elevate the discourse in the television studios, please?
What happens within the four walls?
Sanjay Jha, Narendra Taneja. Sanjay Jha, Narendra Taneja. No, sir, I'm sorry. We need, Gentlemen, we need to elevate the discourse here. Sadhvi Khosla, let me come to you now. For a moment, let's put this issue aside and talk about the other big development of the day, and that is Rahul Gandhi's elevation as the president of the Congress party, unopposed. There was no doubt about that. Is this really the start of a new era? Is this the start of a new innings for the Congress party? Do you believe that Rahul Gandhi will be able to revitalize, re-energize, bring in a new direction, bring in a new strategy to revive the Congress party?
I would like to start with Mahatma Gandhi's quote. First they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, and then you win. A few decades ago, when Mahatma Gandhi wrote these words, little did he know that these words will have much more significance in 2017. For someone who's been derided, for someone who's been rejected, for someone who's been disdained as Pappu, Rahul Gandhi has come a long way. He has traveled, a long journey in Indian politics. I would like to say that he's not a 9 days wonder. He's here to stay. While Rahul has embarked on the similar journey, traveled by his great-grandfather, his grandmother, father, but there are miles to go and several promises to keep. And I'm sure that Rahul himself understands that the road ahead is going to be very difficult for him. It will not be anything similar to what has been traveled by his great-grandfather, his grandmother, or his father. But I'm sure with the kind of positive attitude and the belief in himself and in the core values of the Congress party, this is going to be a new era. Millions of congressmen are seeing that hope in him.
What is going to
More
be
than
new?
that, the country
What is
at
going to be new?
crossroads.
What do you believe is going to be so new? What is going to be so new with the Congress party under Rahul Gandhi, Sadhvi Khosla?
I already see a counter narrative to Narendra Modi, to the BJP, slowly and gradually being built up under Rahul Gandhi. If you look at the kind of issues he's picking up, I mean, if you see the kind of issues he has picked up in Gujarat versus the issues which Mr. Narendra Modi is talking about, just compare those. While Narendra Modi is talking about Nehru, Gandhi, Patel, you know, Pakistan, now he's talking about Mandir, Masjid. Here, Rahul Gandhi, he's talking about issues related to common people, issues related to 6 crore Gujaratis, issues like GST, issues like farmers' distress, issues like unemployment, similar issues which were decades ago, you know, which were taken up by his grandmother. So I see a kind of similitude between his grandmother and him. Please let me complete. You know, 2 years ago, I had written an article that Rahul needs to be his grandmother's son. He needs to learn the ropes of politics from nobody else but his grandmother. Today, I can say this with
in awe of the family.
With that kind of a positivity I see in him, the hope which I see in him, that he's already on that journey. Let's, you know, BJP can say whatever they want to say, but let's not forget Nehuru's vision that helped the country, you know, that took the country to...
I get the point. Yeah. Okay. Let me bring Sanjay Jha. Sanjay Jha, several points being made.
His grandmother and Rahul.
Fair point. All right. Okay, Sanjay Jha, what is going to be different about the Congress party? What is going to be different about the Congress party under Rahul Gandhi? Several points being made there by Sadhvi Khosla, saying that he is now trying to emulate his grandmother's vision for India. His grandmother's vision for India also included nationalization of banks, for instance. What is going to be Rahul Gandhi's strategy for India? And what has changed about Rahul Gandhi's current style of leadership? Because it is visible. There is a change that's visible. The question now is it going to be consistent? Is it going to be sustainable? What is the new strategy? What is the new direction?
You know, Shirin, I'll keep my answer brief. Mr. Rahul Gandhi has always been what I call as a marathon man, a long-distance runner. And, you know, anyone who's run a long-distance will tell you it's a lonely journey. It's a tough one. You know, you got to prepare, but very often you're alone. You stand out. And, you know, very often, as Sadhvi rightly pointed out, you know, you feel the sense that you're embarking on a journey where the destination looks very far away. There's hard work. There's a lot of perseverance.
But
you sweat it out.
Sanjay
and you're not sure whether you're going to come first at any point. But I think...
No, if I may interrupt you for just a second, because you know what we've seen over Mr. Gandhi's almost decade-long innings in Indian politics is a lack of consistency. There has always been this tag attached with him of a reluctant politician, but be that as it may, the question is, does he even have the stomach or the hunger for it? That itself was an issue that was being raised. That's what I believe. At least from what one sees today, there seems to be that hunger and the drive to want to make his own niche. What has changed about Rahul Gandhi? Somebody who wants to run a marathon doesn't run away from the race in the middle,
you know,
sir.
Shirin, can
and that is what was happening with Mr. Gandhi. Yeah.
But Shirin, can I tell you, I mean, those of us who have worked with Mr. Gandhi before, continue to work with him today, you know, we know that he's always been the same. I think end of day, I think it was a question of how much he went out in the public domain, reached out to the media, and actually went ahead and expressed himself. And I do agree with you that, you know, end of day, Mr. Gandhi has always been persevering in the causes that he believes in. And I don't want to mention each and every example of a Bhatta Porsol or his visit to Orissa, but he is, actually he represents, he's a perfect personification of what the Congress ideology is. He's a liberal, believes in liberal values. He's a progressive thinking Indian. He's absolutely a complete what I call as a secular individual. Here is somebody who will create an India based on the highest standards of tolerance of each other's differences and a believer in an inclusive growth model. He's somebody who believes that growth is necessary. He also believes that you need to carry what we believe are people at the bottom of the pyramid. So here is a visionary Indian, very hardworking, and I think what he's going to provide to the Congress party is a galvanized team that will work together to make, I think, an India that we deserve.
Okay, that's the vision that you believe Rahul Gandhi has for the country. But gentlemen, I am going to bring Ajay Shukla into this conversation. We couldn't connect with him at the start of the show. Ajay Shukla was one of the 18 people who were invited to be part of that dinner hosted by Manishankar Iyer on the 6th of December. Ajay Shukla, there has been a debate on in the television studio with Narendra Taneja claiming that this was a hush-hush meeting. We've now seen the response that's come in from the former Prime Minister. The BJP claims that why was the government not invited? Why was anybody from the establishment not invited? And still maintains its position that there are no coincidences, that the comments that followed from Manishankar Iyer were, in a sense, cooked up at this 3-hour-long meeting that took place on the 6th of December. You were part of that dinner, Ajay Shukla. I want your comments.
Well, first of all, as far as the allegation that it was a secret meeting goes, if the Pakistani former foreign minister can enter the country and roam around Delhi without the central government getting to know, I think we have a serious intelligence gathering problem here. Secondly, when I arrived over there at the meeting, the place was awash in police. The Delhi police had security cleared the zone. A former prime minister was going to be attending. I was asked, where are you going? I said, I'm going for the Khushi Kasuri dinner. They said, oh, come this way, sir. The Delhi police comes under the central government. So this is well known. Everybody knew about this thing. There was nothing secret at all about it. As for the allegation that, some plot against Gujarat was hatched at this meeting, this really boggles the imagination. Is it even conceivable that a former prime minister, a vice president, an army chief, 2 foreign secretaries, 4 Indian ambassadors to Pakistan would collectively conspire with a former Pakistani foreign minister, who now has very little clout in Pakistan, by the way, to influence a state election in India? I mean, what fevered brain would come up with this allegation? The answer clearly is it's not possible. The only possible conclusion is that Prime Minister Modi regards doing well in the Gujarat elections as so important that throwing mud at distinguished Indian patriots, at people who have done a lifetime of service for this country, represented it in numerous forums, it's now in Mr. Modi's mind a perfectly acceptable tactic.
Ajay Shukla, I want you to hold on there. Narendra Taneja, you now have heard from Ajay Shukla. He was part of that dinner. He was one of the 18 people there, sir. And as he pointed out, and this was the question that I was asking you at the start of the program as well, how can you imagine that a former prime minister, a former vice president, former army chiefs, former bureaucrats would conspire with Pakistan to ensure that the Gujarat election goes the Congress party's way?
You see, as I said, the police was there, because the former Prime Minister of India was there for him. What happened, in the 4 walls, we don't know. The question is that, and what Mr. Manishankar, the host, what he said
the Prime Minister said
after.
he knew. The Prime Minister said he knew what was discussed in that meeting.
No. You see,
Exactly. Exactly.
When the Prime Minister
Mr. Taneja says they didn't know the Prime
also.
Minister did. How come?
Yeah.
How come?
You see, whatever the Prime Minister said, the Prime Minister said. So you can't dismiss it like that. You see, Prime Minister, of course, would, has his own sources. The question is, Mr. Ajay Shukla, who is a friend of mine, his statement is also part political. So I don't really want to kind of rebut him with a political thing. He has his own point. The question is why, but Mr. Ajay Shukla knows very well about, just a second, he knows well about track 2s and 1.5. So question is why MEA was kept out. If MEA was kept out, even at a lower level like director, why did Mr. Manishankar Iyer brief the MEA or not? The question is, he didn't. And all he did was next morning brief the media and call Prime Minister Neech. So that was his briefing. And that was basically, it looks like the outcome of that meeting.
Ajay Shukla, I want you to respond there to the comments that you've heard there from the BJP spokesperson, Narendra Taneja.
Shireen, as Narendra knows well, there are a number of track 1 and track 2, track 2 and track 1.5 meetings that go on between India and Pakistan. on the 8th and 9th of this month, we are talking about just a couple of days back, the Chow Phraya dialogue took place in Bangkok, where a number of Indian former diplomats and officials met a number of former foreign Pakistan diplomats and officials. That was considered to be perfectly fine. The serving Pakistani High Commissioner to New Delhi recently talked at the National Defense College at New Delhi, interacted with the people over there, talked about exactly the same things that were discussed during this dinner. The discussions, I can vouch for the fact, largely centered on the state of relations between India and Pakistan, the potential for improving them, whether conditions were propitious for resumption of dialogue, what measures like people-to-people contact and trade relations were possible in the current scenario. And Mr. Kasuri spoke at length about his book, which he's come here to promote. He's come to Delhi to promote his book. This is the kind of India-Pakistan track 1 and track 2, track 1.5 and track 2 dialogue that takes place all the time. This is just the only difference this time is that there's a Gujarat election going on, and Pakistan, it's really sad that India is no longer held up as a bogey in Pakistan's election, but we are seeing Pakistan still being held up as a bogey in India. India should be focusing on China and larger issues like that. It's sad to see this happening.
Okay.
No, but
Ajay,
one important thing. Whenever there is track 2, whenever there is track 2 or track 1.5, either the ambassador or the ministry or our mission is always involved. I myself am part of 2 different track 2 with Pakistan and 1.5. And embassies always know either they're hosting dinner or all that. You talked about the one in Bangkok. I'm sure the Indian embassy in Bangkok was involved or briefed. And the same way, why the MEA was not briefed? That's the question. And the brief that came after the dinner was by Mr. Mani Shankar, where he called the Prime Minister Neech. That was the outcome.
A quick response, Ajay Shukla, to that before we wrap the program.
I make no defense of calling the Prime Minister names. That is not relevant to what is being alleged right now, unless the Prime Minister is trying to say that at this meeting, Indian diplomats and former ambassadors and a Pakistani foreign minister sat together and decided to call Prime Minister Modi a niche insan or whatever phrase was used.
Why didn't they brief MEA? Why MEA was kept out completely, not even briefed?
In many track 2s, the MEA is not briefed. This is an entirely
MEA is always directly or indirectly briefed.
Ajay,
MEA is always briefed one way or another.
Can we not speak over each other? Mr. Taneja, I let you have your say. Let Ajay Shukla respond. We're completely out of time. Ajay Shukla, final comment from you on the charge being made by Narendra Taneja about not informing the government about this meeting.
I don't think there is any need for when a collection or a galaxy of individuals and former public servants of this stature get together to meet a former Pakistani foreign minister. There is absolutely no need to inform the MEA because no policy decisions are being taken or discussed. No way forward is being discussed. This is purely a state-of-play relationship discussion going on between 2 sides. And it's not even really...
Ajay, it was against the tradition. It was against the established tradition. Why? Why it was against the established tradition?
One second, Narendra. When Prime Minister Modi invited Nawaz Sharif for his swearing in, it was against the tradition. When he went to Lahore in December 2015, it was against the tradition.
That was
when he
invited. That was not track 2. That was not track 2. That was not track 2. It was state to state.
Sir, the point that you were making. No. Mr. Taneja, tradition has been broken in the past as well, whether track 2 or track 1.5. Ajay Shukla, they're giving instances where the Prime Minister, for instance, may have broken with tradition for what he thought was the right way to move forward. But that apart,
I'm talking tradition and track 1.5 and 2. That was state to state. That's a different story altogether. Comparison is not fair. Comparison is not fair. Unfair.
Shireen, can I
we will have to... Yes, Ajay.
Can I just make one final comment? Tradition is always broken last in the official channels. Tradition is broken first in informal discussion channels like Track 2 and so on, because they are exploring bold initiatives to take the relationship forward. We have a Prime Minister who's willing to break with tradition, and I have to say I welcome that.
That was the new thing.
I welcome what Prime Minister Modi is saying. What I don't welcome is this undue politicization of a perfectly routine incident.
All right, on that note, we are going to have to end this discussion. We are going to, sir, that's a separate story altogether. Manishankar Iyer has faced the consequences of making that comment. That is not linked to the discussion that we're having. Let's not go down that road again.
Narendra Taneja, he will be back in Congress in 2 weeks.
Sanjay Jha. Sir, the BJP must also take note of the comments that are made by several spokespeople, etc., which follow the kind of discourse that Mr. Iyer also took forward. But that's a matter for another debate. Mr. Taneja, Sanjay Jha, Sadhvi Khosla, Ajay Shukla, appreciate you joining us here on this special show. Thanks very much for your time.